WordPress 7.1 is coming in just a couple of weeks. The official date is 19th of August 2026, just a week from now. Current version or updated version of WordPress is 7.0.3. So I'm going to tell you in this video all the different things, new features that are coming in WordPress 7.1, and there are many, many exciting changes. Let's dive in. So for this demonstration, I've set up two websites side by side so I can show you the differences. On the left is a website with 7.0.3, and on the right, we have a website with 7.1. RC2, so that's the latest version at the date of this recording. Let me start with the first important thing or first difference, which is an absolutely new block. So let me show you that. The new block in WordPress 7.1 is called a tabs block. And let me show you a use case. On the left, we have WordPress 7.0.3. And let's say you have a website with multiple lesson types, musical lessons for a child. So you have piano lessons, guitar lessons, voice lessons, etc. So you'll have to set them up like this. On WordPress 7.1, we have a new tab which can use to set up tabs for specifically this use case. So all we'll do is we'll go and type the / key, type in tabs, which will bring up the new tabs block. And just to clarify, if I go here on 7.0.3, you won't find the tabs block here. So once the tab is set up, you can give it a title. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Let's say piano. The piano, and let's say we'll also do strings. And if you want to add new tabs, you can always add new tabs, remove tabs from the block. And here's how to set it up. So let's say if you already created a block, for example, right now we have a piano block. So what I'll do is I just select all the blocks like this. I'll go to the menu. I'll copy all these blocks to the clipboard. I'll come back here and I'll paste these blocks. And then I can move to strings and do the same thing. And this way, everything I want to set up in blocks, I can set up in blocks. So once it's done, now you can see if I go to piano, I see piano. If I go to strings, I go to strings. I think I missed the call to action button here, but that makes sense. Or without it, it still makes sense. So that's the new tabs block in WordPress 7.1. Next big change in WordPress 7.1 is a big one, especially for designing layouts and elements. It's called responsive design. Let me show you. So once again, on the left, we have WordPress 7.0.3. On the right, we have 7.1. When you're designing a page, you are familiar with the interface, how it looks like. If you go to the preview option here, this is the behavior you expect: desktop, tablet, mobile. You can change and you can do a lot of things. But on 7.1, you have a new update. So if I go here, now you can see it's called responsive styles. And as soon as I enable it, you'll see something here. I can change the styling of something instead of just the preview. So I'll click and you'll see the text changes. Before the responsive style is enabled, it says preview. So that means I can preview desktop, tablet, and mobile. And changes that I do will apply the same based on not based on the viewport, but it'll be persistent. But if I change to responsive styles, now if I change to any view, any change I make to the font size, any other styling will remain for that only. For example, if I go to mobile view now, and if I make a change here, let's say if I change the font size to medium, now that changes only on mobile, not on desktop. That's the big change. So if we go back to desktop, you'll see the font size is not the same. It's actually changed for mobile view. So right now in 7.0.3, this would require you to have media queries and custom CSS to do this. But now that's a native part of WordPress 7.1. Pretty awesome change. Let's look at the next one. The next big change in WordPress 7.1 is again a design related change. Let me demonstrate. On WordPress 7.0.3, if you look at buttons as an example, you can see that they have options split into two pages: styles and options, and these are all the settings, nothing new. On 7.1, you'll see that they look very much similar, or very much the same, but they've been combined on a single tab instead of two different tabs. And the more important change here is, again, no custom CSS required. Now, if you look at the three-dotted menu here, now you can change the styling for default, hover, focus, focus visible, and active. Right now in WordPress 7.0.3, if you want to do this, you have to write CSS, but now you can do this. For example, if I go here, I can now change what color this button will get if I'm hovering over it. So if I come here and I actually set up a pink color, then I can actually customize this, and this can go back, for example, default, and now we have customized this for this. And of course, all the other settings, all the other states can be customized right inside WordPress. Next big change in WordPress 7.1 is again a new block. Let me give an example. So let's say if you had a podcast or you were just embedding audio on your website. Now in WordPress 7.1, which is on the right hand side, you have a brand new block called playlist block. So if I type in / playlist, now we have this playlist block. If I go to 7.0.3, there is no such playlist block. And what you can do is we can go to the media library and upload new files. So let me just set up, upload a few audio files so I can show you how it works. So I uploaded some random tracks that I had lying around my computer. These are not relevant to what the video is about or what you saw on the screen, but you can see right now you can play this, and of course it will be embedded on the website. Anybody can actually do this. So no separate audio players required. Of course, you can add tracks and you have all the other options as well. You can track on play button, and like the settings for the block is itself self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go into details of the block itself. Of course, you have styling options as well, using which you can style the new playlist block. And one more important change, since we are already on a specific post, is something you probably already have noticed, which is the admin bar. In WordPress current behavior 7.0.3, when you are actually on a page, the command bar, or say the admin bar, disappears. There's no admin bar here, right? But in WordPress 7.1, the admin bar stays persistent, which I particularly like because I had to a lot of times go back and then do things. But now all the essential things will see or be visible on the admin bar itself. Pretty useful feature. Next big important change in WordPress 7.1 has been the notes feature. Notes were introduced in WordPress 6.9 and they've been improved overall, but the notes feature by itself is largely the same. Let me demonstrate. So on WordPress 6.9, right now it's 7.0.3, so the feature is the same. You could leave notes and a note would just work like this. For example, if I did this and I went to the menu and I said, hey, let's add a note, and I would just type in change this, and I could add a note, and the note would be visible. And most of the time, if I see this, you see the problem here. The note, even if I, let's say, highlighted a specific section of the sentence, now the note applies to the entire block, which is confusing. But in WordPress 7.1, that changes. For example, if I say, hey, I just want to change this line, and I'll just go here and I'll add a note. And where is it? Add note. If I say change this, add a note here. Now you'll see that the section that I used to highlight the note always stays visible. So it's very easy to understand what the note meant. There are also some quality of life changes to notes. Now you can have threaded notes. Also, it supports rich text or rich formatting in notes, and some other quality of life improvements, as I just mentioned. Another good design change to WordPress 7.1 is how you can use gradients in combination with background images, which was not possible till now. So on the left, once again, we have WordPress 7.0.3. And if I select the group block, if I go here, let's say I select the group block, I go to styles, and you can see that we already have a background image set, which you can see. Now, what if I wanted to add a gradient on top? If I go here and set a background gradient, whatever color it is, I'll just choose a random color. You'll instantly see the background is set, or the gradient background is set, but the image, even though it's showing up in the settings, it doesn't actually show up on the screen. That's why, or that's the way it works in WordPress 7.0.3. But on 7.1, it's different. If I do the same thing here, and you can see the background image is set, if I go to the gradient, and if I select a gradient here, and if I do this, and I'll just set it to a transparent so that I can show you. And now you can see that the gradient is actually overlaid on the image, not completely replacing the image. That's the big difference in WordPress 7.1. And just to show you, even if I add the transparency back here in WordPress 7.0.3, it doesn't actually show the image, just to clarify. Another big change to WordPress 7.1 is the new image editor. Let me demonstrate. So on the left, we have 7.0.3, and if you select an image, you know that you have some controls on the image itself. If I select the crop option, you can see that you see some guidelines. You can do some basic operations. So you can zoom in, zoom out, or basically crop the image if you like, do basic operations. You've used it, you probably know how it works. But on WordPress 7.1, that is a huge difference. If I come here and I click crop, it opens up a completely new modal where I can do a lot of things. I can set up a specific aspect ratio. I can zoom in a little bit. I can rotate the image, of course, and I can also fine tune the rotation. So if you have a skewed image, now you can actually tweak it around. Right now it's perfect, so I'll just bring it back. And you can also flip it if you like, and you can reset it, undo. And on the details page, you will be able to actually customize the title and the alt text and anything else, which you can do the media library, but this now you can do right here in the in the post section. And by the way, if you see here that the image is unattached because this post is a draft, otherwise it would have shown that it's attached to a particular image. All right. So that's the new feature in WordPress 7.1. The next big improvement in WordPress 7.1 is with respect to how it handles media. There are a lot of different improvements, so let me demonstrate. In WordPress 7.0.3 or previous versions of WordPress, you had limited support for most, let's say, compressed image formats, specifically HEIC. So I just tested it out. My host currently supports HEIC. So I was able to upload an HEIC format image. You can see it here, HEIC. But many hosts do not run any kind of conversion on their server and will reject it. So that is now improved in WordPress 7.1. Now, what it does is, or image management is done through the browser itself. So not even your server has to do the work. Your browser actually does the work. It compresses the image, it resizes the image and converts it into popular formats. But of course, I cannot demonstrate that because it happens in the browser automatically. But there's some improvements to media file handling as well. So if I just take a bunch of images, what I'll do is I'll just take a few different images that I have and I'll upload them to both the websites one by one. So if I'll drag them here, you'll see this is how it works. And here, if I do this, they're both reliable, but 7.1 has a much more reliable upload solution where even if your internet goes down, it'll actually resume. On WordPress 7.0 previous version, it would just crash and you'll have to do it again. Apart from media handling, there's also some other features, I'd say, improvements to the overall image features, management features. Once the image is uploaded, I'll actually show you and demonstrate some of those features as well. So the images are uploaded, and one of the important changes you'll see here is on WordPress 7.3 or 7.0.3, if I scroll down, I have to click load more to see the next batch of images. I have to manually do it. But on WordPress 7.1, it's now an infinite scrolling behavior by default. And if you don't want like this behavior, you can always opt out in your profile page to not have this behavior. Let me show you some settings or some improvements to images in the post section. So I've edited a couple of images or added a couple of images and a gallery to both the websites. The process looks very much the same. The website looks very much the same. Big difference to one of the gallery features. So if I go here and create a new gallery, then you'll see that I have two options, either upload or use images from the media library, how I created this gallery. But there's a new feature in 7.1 that if I take the gallery, I can use the attached images. So that means any images attached to this blog post can automatically be converted into a gallery, which is a pretty useful feature if you want to showcase all the images attached to a page. The next few batch of changes are with block editing, and let me demonstrate. So the first big change is if you enter the block editor or current editor site editor, then the identity is now its own menu entry. So you can see no identity here. You have to go to the settings and find it. But here, the identity, that means your site title, site tagline, and even your other elements are directly present here. That's the first big change. Another small, I'd say not quality of life, but consistent changing is with the color scheme in the site editor. So on the left, you see I've changed the color scheme of both websites by going into the profile settings. By the way, if you didn't know this is not a new feature. It's been around for a long time. So on the left, I have a blue scheme. On the right, I have a midnight scheme. Now, if I go to the site editor right now, so if I go to site editor, by going to appearance and editor, then you'll notice that the styling does not apply to the site editor right now, but that changes with WordPress 7.1. If I go to site editor here by going to appearance editor, then the same color scheme that I applied on my WordPress, I say admin area, also transfer over here. That's a small big change, or I say small but nice change in WordPress 7.1. So those are the most important changes coming to WordPress 7.1. There are, of course, more, I say, smaller changes that I did not cover. There's a lot of things that were scheduled to come in 7.1 but have been deferred to future versions. And of course, there's some under the hood developments for developers and things that I don't think I'll find relevant, or you might not find relevant because it's made or specifically for developers. So those are the big changes to 7.1. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone that you think will benefit from this overall video. And you're watching Ibraj from Beginner, and I'll catch you in the next video really soon. Take care.